He came home acting normal, but something felt off. Then I saw it, a small scratch on his back, like fingernails had dug into him. "Rough day?" I asked. He smirked. "Yeah, you know how work is." But that night, as he slept, I checked his phone. A single text from an unknown number sent a chill down my spine. "Hope you made it home safe." That was fun. The next morning, I kissed his cheek and whispered, "So, was it worth it?" He pulled back, confused. Then I held up his phone and watched the color drain from his face. Let me start by saying, I've been married to Mark for 6 years. Together for 10. We met in Baltimore at a friend's birthday party. We clicked fast. Moved in after a year. Got married in a courthouse. Nothing fancy, but it felt right. We'd been through hard times, job losses, a miscarriage, even a health scare. But we stayed together. Or so I thought. Last Tuesday, he came home at his usual time. 6:15 p.m. He walked in, kissed my forehead, put his keys in the dish, and asked, "What's for dinner?" Like everything was normal. But something about him was off. Just a little. It's hard to explain. His voice was the same. His clothes were the same. But his vibe? Off. I watched him as he bent down to untie his shoes. That's when I noticed it. There was a scratch on his back. A thin red mark running just under the collar of his shirt, maybe 3 inches long, slightly swollen. Like fingernails had dug into him. I froze for a second. Stared at it. He didn't notice. Just kept talking about how his boss was on his ass all day. "Rough day?" I asked, casually, still staring at that mark. He smirked, didn't turn around. "Yeah, you know how work is." That scratch was not from work. Mark works in IT. He sits at a desk. He barely even lifts a box. And that scratch, that was from someone. Someone with long nails. Someone who had been close enough to him to leave it there. I didn't say anything. I just nodded. Acted normal. I served dinner, chicken and rice. He ate like usual. Asked about my day. Laughed at something dumb on TV. Then he took a shower. Said he was tired. Went to bed early. I stayed on the couch. My stomach was in knots. My head kept going back to that scratch. I wanted to believe it was nothing. Maybe he leaned against something? Maybe he scratched himself without realizing? But my gut said otherwise. And after 10 years together, I've learned one thing: my gut is rarely wrong. Around midnight, I crept into the bedroom. He was out cold, snoring lightly. His phone was on the charger beside the bed. Now here's the thing, Mark isn't super private with his phone. He doesn't have a password. He always said he had nothing to hide. I never checked it before. Not once. But that night I did. I picked it up, heart pounding in my chest. I opened his messages. Nothing. Mostly group chats from work, a few texts from his brother, one from me. I almost felt relieved. Maybe I was just being paranoid. Maybe the stress of everything lately had gotten to me. Then I saw it. A single message. From an unsaved number. "Hope you made it home safe." That was fun. My heart dropped into my stomach. I stared at that message for a long time, like maybe it would change if I blinked enough. It was sent at 5:27 p.m. He had texted me at 5:34 p.m. saying he was heading out now. So in those 7 minutes, what the hell had he been doing? The message didn't have a name. Just a number. No picture. But that emoji, cheeky little smile, it felt like a slap in the face. I didn't even scroll up. I didn't need to. That one message was enough. I put the phone back exactly how I found it. Then I lay down beside him. I didn't sleep. In the morning, I woke up before him. Made coffee. Pretended everything was fine. He walked into the kitchen rubbing his eyes, smiled like usual. I kissed his cheek. Then I whispered in his ear, "So, was it worth it?" He pulled back, blinking. "What?" I held up his phone. I didn't unlock it. Just held it there, screen up, with that message still glowing. His face changed in less than a second. First confusion. Then recognition. Then guilt. I saw the color drain from his face. That's where I'll leave it for now. I'm still trying to figure out what to do. We have a mortgage. Shared accounts. A life. But I can't unsee that scratch. I can't unread that message. I'm not sure how long he's been cheating. I don't know who she is. I don't know if it was a one-time thing or something deeper. But I know this, he's not the man I thought I married. And now, I have decisions to make. He didn't say a word for a few seconds. Just stood there, staring at his own phone like it had betrayed him. His mouth opened like he was going to say something, but nothing came out. Then he tried to play dumb. "What is this?" he asked, voice low. "Where'd you get that?" I didn't blink. "Your phone, Mark. It's your phone." He ran his hand through his hair and backed up like I was pointing a gun at him. "Look, it's not what it looks like." I laughed. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because that line was so predictable it made me sick. "It never is, right?" He kept saying, "Let me explain," but every time he tried, I saw that scratch again in my mind. The kind of scratch you don't get by accident. So I asked him, "Who is she?" His eyes darted. "I don't even know her name." Wrong answer. That hit me harder than I thought it would. It was like confirming that this wasn't love. It wasn't an affair of emotions. It was something cheap. Something fast. Something animal. I stepped back and said, "So you threw away 10 years for someone you don't even know?" He didn't say anything. Then the lies started pouring out. One after the other. She was at the conference. It was just once. I was drunk. I don't even remember most of it. Then, a pause. "But it's been a rough few months between us. You've been distant." There it was. The shift. From guilt to blame. I nodded slowly. "So it's my fault now?" He shook his head, but the damage was done. The next few days were a blur. I didn't tell anyone yet. I didn't cry much. I just watched him. Like I was seeing him for the first time, not as my husband, but as a man who could look me in the eye and lie. And the worst part? He kept acting like it wasn't a big deal. One morning, I noticed he was dressing a little better. Putting on cologne he hadn't worn in months. Even got a haircut. Like he was already halfway out the door. Like he was preparing for his next move. I started checking his phone every night after he fell asleep. There were more messages now. A different number. Shorter texts. "Miss you already. Same time next week?" He had saved the number under a fake name. Jim, work. I guess he thought I'd never look. But I did. One night, he was asleep on the couch and his phone buzzed. I opened it. It was a photo this time. A woman in a bathroom mirror, wearing only his hoodie. Smiling. I felt something cold settle inside me. Not sadness. Not even rage. It was clarity. He wasn't sorry. He wasn't confused. He was gone. I just hadn't kicked him out yet. But then, this is where it gets strange, I saw a name I recognized. The woman had posted the photo in a disappearing chat app, but her username had a real name in it, Sabrina_Rutledge. That name hit me hard. Because that wasn't just anyone. That was his ex from college. The one he always swore was crazy. The one who cheated on him and ruined his trust. The one he told me he blocked on everything. My blood went cold. This wasn't some random woman at a conference. This was premeditated. I dug deeper. Found her Facebook. She had moved to DC 6 months ago. Mark had gone to a work conference in DC 2 months after that. It all lined up. He lied to my face. Slept next to me every night while he reconnected with her. The woman he claimed ruined him. Now she was ruining us. Here's the thing, he doesn't know I know it's her. He thinks I only saw the messages. He thinks he's in control. So now I'm quiet. I cook dinner. I smile when he talks. I ask about his day. But in the back of my mind, I'm planning. I'm not the type to scream. I don't throw plates or slash tires. That's not me. But I know how to dismantle a life slowly. I know how to move money without making noise. I know how to make a man think everything's fine, until it's not. He thinks I'm still figuring things out. He has no idea. 3 days after finding out it was Sabrina, his ex, I sat on the patio with my laptop and a glass of wine. Mark was inside, watching basketball and pretending like his world wasn't about to catch fire. I opened a new tab and searched for Sabrina Rutledge. I couldn't help it. I needed to see her. Needed to understand what I was up against. Her Facebook was mostly private, but her Instagram? Wide open. It hit me like a punch to the gut. There she was, curled up in a car seat. My car's passenger seat. Wearing the same hoodie he'd worn to bed the night before. Same scuff on the sleeve. Same little bleach stain near the wrist. I zoomed in and stared at it like if I looked long enough, it would disappear. The caption said, "Missed this. Missed you." Posted 4 days ago. He'd told me he was visiting his brother in Philadelphia that day. Stayed overnight. Came back the next morning with leftovers from his mom. He never even went to Philly. He was with her. And then, it got worse. Because I scrolled further and found a picture from inside a hotel room. I recognized the cheap artwork. The yellow striped wallpaper. I knew it because we'd stayed there together during our 3rd anniversary trip to Charleston, South Carolina. Same hotel. Room looked nearly identical. She had tagged the hotel. They'd gone back to the place we had memories. Rewritten it with theirs. And in the reflection of the mirror, barely visible, but there. His phone, open, with my face on the lock screen. I felt sick. Then something clicked. I opened our shared Google account. Mark's lazy with tech. He never turned off location history. I followed the map trail. DC, Baltimore, Charleston, and New York. 3 weeks ago. He told me he had a work seminar. I remember it clearly because I'd packed his bag for him. I even slipped in a small note. Good luck. Proud of you. He had taken her. All of this, it wasn't new. It had been going on for months. And then came the twist I really didn't expect. Sabrina? She's pregnant. How do I know? Because she posted a picture, hands on her stomach, captioned, "Not what I expected this year to bring." But here we are, same day he came home with a bottle of wine and said, "Let's try again. Let's not give up on us." That broke me in a way I didn't even know was possible. But I didn't cry. Not yet. I just stared at my screen, silent, for a long time. The next morning, I printed out screenshots of everything. The messages, the photos, the map history, the pregnancy post. Put them in a folder labeled taxes and placed it in the desk drawer where he keeps his headphones. He always grabs them before his evening walks. Then I played my part again. Smiled. Made breakfast. Kissed him goodbye before work. But behind the scenes, I was moving money. Little by little. Transferred part of our joint savings into an old account I'd opened years ago and never closed. I started documenting everything. Dates, times, locations. I even reached out to a friend of mine, attorney, family law, just for advice. That weekend, another twist came. Mark left his laptop open. He never does that. Curiosity got the better of me. There was a Word doc open. Titled, "Letter to Natalie." That's me. I hesitated. Then I read it. It wasn't a confession. It was a plan. He'd been writing a letter to leave me. He was trying to make it look noble. Blaming, growing apart, emotional distance, and saying he didn't want to hurt me anymore. But that's not even the worst part. The draft ended with, "I'll always love you, but I'm starting over. Please don't make this harder than it already is." He wasn't going to tell me about Sabrina. He was just going to walk away. Clean. Like none of it happened. And the real twist? He had filed for a new apartment. In DC. With her. I found the lease papers buried in his email drafts. Move-in scheduled 2 weeks from now. He had already paid the deposit. He was going to ghost me from our marriage. That's when something in me snapped. I printed the letter too. Slipped it into the same folder. Then I called his mom. We aren't close, but she's always liked me. I didn't tell her everything, just enough to make her stop singing his praises. Said he'd been distant, said I was worried, said he might be making some big mistakes soon. She got quiet. Then she said, "I saw Sabrina's Instagram." That hit me like a slap. "You knew." "I didn't want to believe it," she said softly. "But he came by last week. With her." I thought it was just a meeting. I didn't ask questions. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tear my house apart. But I didn't. Because now I know. Everyone's been lying. Him. Her. His own mother. And they think I'm just sitting here, clueless. But they don't know what's coming. Because I've started calling every hotel, every receipt, every toll booth. Building a timeline. One I can present in court. One that shows not just infidelity, but deliberate emotional cruelty. One that could cost him everything. I'm not going to confront him yet. I'm going to wait. Wait until he thinks he's in the clear. Until he's packed up. Until he's said his goodbye. Then I'm going to hand him the folder. The one labeled taxes. With everything inside. Let him read it. Let it sink in. And just when he thinks it can't get worse, I'll tell him what he doesn't know yet. I also took a pregnancy test. And I'm late. But whether it's his or not, that's not something I plan to share right away. It was a Saturday morning when everything finally came to a head. Mark had just come back from one of his early walks. Hair freshly styled. New shoes. He didn't know I'd been tracking him through his phone. He didn't know I knew he wasn't walking anywhere. He was driving to a condo in downtown DC. Her condo. I waited until he sat down with his coffee. Hey, I said, placing the folder in front of him. Can we go over this together? He looked annoyed. Taxes? No. Just open it. He sighed, flipped the cover, and his entire body tensed. Photo after photo. Screenshots. Hotel bookings. Social media posts. GPS logs. The last page? The ultrasound photo Sabrina had posted, printed in color, and the draft of his letter to Natalie right beneath it. Silence. He closed the folder slowly, then looked up at me. His face was pale. Eyes wide. Lips slightly parted, like he forgot how to form words. I didn't let him speak. I know everything, Mark. I know it wasn't a one-time mistake. I know it wasn't just work trips. I know it's Sabrina. I know you've been planning to leave. And I know she's pregnant. Still silence. You were going to ghost your wife. You coward. Then, he snapped. You spied on me? I stared at him. That's what you're opening with? He stood up, knocking over his coffee mug. It shattered. You had no right to go through my phone, my laptop, I had every right, I interrupted, calm but shaking. You gave up your right to privacy when you started leading a double life under my roof. He started pacing. Sweating. I didn't mean for it to go this far, he muttered. Then why the lease, Mark? Why the fake names? Why the hiding? Why her? And then, for the first time since this began, he exploded. Because she made me feel alive again. Because she looks at me like I matter. Because with you, I feel like a ghost in my own damn house. I felt like I'd been slapped. He kept going. You stopped trying, Nat. You shut down after the miscarriage. You pulled away. I tried, but you never came back. You never let me in. And just like that, he twisted the knife. He made my pain his excuse. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. But I did say this. She was never supposed to be the fix, Mark. You were. We were. Then the front door opened. And in walked his sister, Lacey. She was dropping off a dish she promised to bring for Sunday dinner. She froze in the doorway, holding a glass casserole tray, eyes darting between us, the spilled coffee, the open folder. What's going on? I turned to her. Ask your brother. Mark tried to close the folder, but it was too late. Lacey walked over, scanned a few pages, her eyes widening with every line. She looked at Mark like she didn't recognize him. You're cheating on Natalie? With her? Mark tried to speak, but she slapped the back of his head. You selfish idiot. That's when he lost it. Why is everyone judging me? You all think I'm the villain, but none of you know what it's like being invisible in your own marriage. I stood up, finally ready. You want people to see you, Mark? Fine. I pulled out my phone and opened a group video chat with his mom, his brother, and 2 close family friends, people who had watched our wedding, people who called me family. Faces popped up one by one. Hey Nat, what's? And I flipped the phone to show the folder. This is who Mark really is. He stormed out mid-call. Slammed the door so hard, the picture frame in the hallway fell. Later that night, I got a message from him. You humiliated me. Hope it was worth it. I didn't reply. Because the next morning, I woke up to something strange. Silence. The kind that settles after a storm. I walked through the house. His keys were gone. His toothbrush. His cologne. One drawer left open. Empty. He was gone. I sat at the kitchen table. Just sat. And for the first time in days, I cried. Not because I wanted him back, but because 10 years had ended with a folder and a slammed door. Lacey came over later that week. Brought wine. Held me while I broke down again. You didn't deserve any of this, she whispered. He doesn't even deserve your anger. And maybe she was right. I filed for divorce the following Monday. He didn't contest it. A month later, I saw a post. Sabrina had given birth. A boy. Mark wasn't in the picture. A mutual friend told me they'd split. He never showed up to appointments. Said he wasn't ready. I didn't feel sorry for her. But I didn't feel triumphant either. I just felt done. Now it's been 6 months. The house is quieter, but so is my mind. Sometimes I still catch myself reaching for 2 coffee cups in the morning. Sometimes I forget he's not coming home. But I don't miss him. Not really. I miss the idea of him. The version of him I believed in. I go on walks now. Alone. I sleep better. I joined a book club. Got a therapist. And I'm not pregnant. Turns out it was a false alarm. Funny, right? I thought the test would be the biggest twist. Turns out it was just a moment. A scary, clarifying moment. Now? I'm not hopeful. Not yet. But I'm not broken either. I'm somewhere in between. And for the first time in a long time, that feels like enough.